Hi, everybody. I'm Chuck Freeman, and welcome to Locked On Brewers. The Brewers, some late inning magic, and they get the job done. They sweep the New York Mets. We'll talk about that, look ahead to the Cardinals, and go over this one in just a second, right here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Brewers. I'm your host, Chuck Freeman. Been covering the Brewers for 42 years. I work for WIBA Radio in Madison, work for AP Radio as well, covering the team. Been covering the Brewers for a long, long time. You've heard me do sports talk in the Milwaukee area as well. I love the Milwaukee Brewers. I cover them, but I'm also a fan just like you are. So I enjoy doing these podcasts every day. We cover the Brewers 7 days a week here on Locked On Brewers, and I appreciate you joining us. Wherever you're joining us, whether you're on YouTube or some of our other places to access our site. And I'm going to pull that up right now. Some of the places where you can actually go and find some of the places where we are. We're on a bunch of different podcast sites: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, and Castbox. And of course, there might be someone out there where you have your way of getting this podcast. Always subscribe. Get alerted on YouTube. You can subscribe on YouTube and hit the little bell there, and it's going to tell you exactly when we download the video portion of this. So wherever you catch us, we'd love to have you every day because we're going to give you some good information about the Milwaukee Brewers. The Milwaukee Brewers victorious today. How about that today? They get the job done, and they win 7-6. I put on Twitter, going to the ninth inning, I said, the Brewers are just going to find a way to win this game. I have this innate ability I've been around these teams for so long. You have I got this ability to pick when the Brewers are going, or there any sports team in our state, when they're going to have flourishing success or things are not going to go their way. I just got this I'm not good at a lot of things, but I just had this way of sensing things. And I was telling you yesterday on the podcast, a buddy of mine wanted to bet against the Brewers with Scherzer on the mound. I said, don't go there, player. And he did, and he lost. And again today, I texted him. I said, do not bet against the Brewers. They are sweeping this series. When the going is good with the Brewers, you just ride them. Yeah, they just find a way to win games. And they did today. Garrett Mitchell with a bottom of the ninth home run. And the Brewers came back and won this game 7-6. It was tied 6-6. And they battled back and they won the game. But here's how they battled back. They were down 6-4 in this game. Jesse Winker had a 2-run single to tie this game in the sixth inning. And then the Brewers bullpen just held and waited for Garrett Mitchell to lead off the bottom of the ninth inning for the walk-off winner. Yeah, I know there was a bad part of this game. We're going to talk about Corbin Burnes here in a little bit. I understand that. But finding a way to win, that is awesome. And this is what this franchise has been able to do. Yeah, they've only been to one World Series. But when they get on a roll like this, somehow luck, and they get a few things go their way, and they make their own luck, and they're riding a few people right now, and the going is good with the Milwaukee Brewers, and we'll take it. Trust me, we'll take it. Hey, you know what? I'm not saying this team is going to go 161-1. They might lose a couple of games along the way, but so far, so good with these guys. Mitchell's got 3 home runs in the last 2 games. Luke Voit with Jesse Winker with a 2-run single, who continues each and every day to be a big part of this offense. I know the young guys are getting a lot of attention, but Winker's coming up in big moments and delivering. He had a bad opening day last week in Chicago, but since then, this guy has been gold. And he had that bad year in Seattle last year, but we saw him when he was with the Reds, and he was a Brewers killer. And this has been a great pickup. I think it is. And I know it's early and all that, and the early returns, but I like Winker on this team. I loved it when they made the move to trade Colton Wong, and Winker was part of that package. I absolutely loved it. So, Joey Wiemer, 3-run home run today, made a diving catch in the outfield as well. His 3-run homer early on gave the Brewers a 4-1 lead, but it wouldn't last long. But Wiemer, that terrific catch out in left center field. If you saw on Twitter today, there is a side-by-side picture of comparing Winker with former Brewer outfielder of the late 80s, Rob Deere. They look similar. Their games, they both got great power. They both could run a little bit. I would say Wiemer's a little faster. Wiemer's got a gun out there. So does Deere. Wiemer's going to hit for a better average and run the bases a little bit better as far as stealing bases, a little bit better than Robbie Deere. But hey, Wiemer's off to a terrific start of his Milwaukee Brewer career. His first major league home run today came out for the Cheesehead, and he got the curtain call, and he came out on that curtain call, and he still had that Cheesehead on. And that was just great to see. Wow, it was a fun 3 days at AmFam Field, beating the New York Mets. Anytime you beat the Mets with their $300 million payroll, and you sweep them, what time of the year that happens, that's a good thing. But we got to talk about Corbin Burnes, I suppose, as well. Corbin was not good today. Gave up 2 2-run homers to Pete Alonso, 2 of them. One in the top of the 5th inning, gave the Mets a 6-4 lead, and you're thinking, oh boy. And then Burnes walked the next batter. Craig went out there and got him, and then the bullpen hung really, really tough. The bullpen was just great today. And we're going to talk about that when we go through all the individuals of this game and some of the highlights and lowlights. But that bullpen, once again, did the job, and they've been great. The bullpen is, to me, is an iffy part of this team, but it was terrific in this series, and it has been so far through 1 week of the season. But Burnes today, gave up 6 runs, the 2 home run balls, 4 of the runs on the 2 homers by Alonso. And he says, Burnes after the game said he feels he's throwing the ball well, but he says he's making mistakes in bad spots with guys on base. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but the bottom line is he's giving up base hits. He gave up 2 homers today. That was problematic. He's not striking people out. He's not getting swing and misses. He's not doing that. Yeah, the offense bailed him out and got a win. I wouldn't say Corbin's a concern at all. And I know some of you are a little worried about that. And somebody pointed out, yeah, I would assume jokingly saying that Corbin is the weakness of this team. He's not, but through the first week, he has not been one of the bright spots so far. But let's let the dust settle a little bit on Corbin Burnes before we be too judgmental about him. He's built up some equity with us. The defense, just great for the Milwaukee Brewers. All the way around. Voit played first base, made a nice play over there. And I mentioned Wiemer. I mean, all around. I mean, defensively, Anderson at third base took a base hit away today. And then on the other end, Voit had a nice scoop and touch of the bag or a stretch of the bag and got back on the base to make the play. So all that is good so far. But you got to like Jesse Winker. You got to like the young guys. And you got to like everything going all right with these guys so far. And Corbin, I know, hey, when Corbin Burnes is so far the disappointment, that's a good thing because you know Corbin's going to turn it around. He's not going to struggle like this all season long. I don't know what it is, but we'll make further judgment about him as the season goes along. Locked On Brewers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day, and we appreciate all the great sponsors here on Locked On Brewers. And today's show is brought to you in part by eBay Motors. eBay Motors, one of the new sponsors here on Locked On. And eBay Motors, if you're looking to find some parts for your car, eBay Motors is a way to go. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can make sure every part you need fits just right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part that'll fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game. And when you shop on eBay Motors with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. And after all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. The right parts, get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions do apply. Today's show is also brought to you by Built Bar. Built Bar, it's got a lot of great things going for them these days. They got this contest that is going over there right now where it's the It's their March Madness bracket. The Built March Madness bracket is here. And if you have a favorite Built Bar or Puff, now's the time to make it count. Go to BuiltMarchMadness.com, vote for your favorites, and you have a chance to win a 1-year supply of Built Bars. What are Built Bars? Well, they are very good for you. And I've mentioned earlier, if you work out and you need some energy, Built Bars and Puffs are the way to go. Very high in protein, low in sugar, covered with 100% real chocolate, 100% real chocolate, and it makes it taste so good you wouldn't know it's that good for you. But go to Built Bar or BuiltMarchMadness.com, BuiltMarchMadness.com right now to vote for your favorite bar or puff. Pick up a box while you're there. You can vote every day, so hop in and support your pick on Built Bar. All right, Chuck Freeman here. After a 7-6 win, they sweep the series for the New York Mets. They're in first place in the division. First place in the division. I know we've been here before. We've been down this road before with the Milwaukee Brewers, and we've been kicked in the groin. But, it's a lot better than being 1-5. I'll just say that. And there's some buzz going on with the team right now with the young guys, and I think a lot of you are excited about that. And we're going to take some of your Twitter answers that in comments that you put on later in the game today. So let's run down through some of the things that happened in today's game as far as batters. Mike Brousseau made the start at third base today. He went 1 for 3. Garrett Mitchell later came on as a pinch hitter and played center field. And he went 1 for 2. And, of course, the game-winning home run, his third home run in 2 days. Willie Adames, he was in the 3-hole today. I should say he was in the 2-hole today. He went 0 for 2, and he walked twice and struck out once. Christian Yelich took an 0 for. Somebody put on Twitter today, boy, there's some days that Yelich looks like a Hall of Famer. There's other at-bats where he looks lost out there, and he just looks lost. Yes, and classic example today. You saw him out there, and you're like, man, okay. And then he comes up and he strikes out twice. He had some hard hit balls earlier in the week. He went 0 for 4 yesterday and struck out 4 times. He's batting .217. Thought Saturday and Sunday, again, some well-hit balls for him, but just cannot turn the corner. William Contreras, the catcher today, he went 1 for 3. Luke Voit started at first base with the lefty out there, and Luke went 2 for 4 and 2 strikeouts as well, and some nice picks over there at first base. How about Anderson? Brian Anderson started in right field, moved to third base, made the nice defensive play. He went 1 for 3 and a strikeout and a walk. So he's getting on base. He's scoring. Didn't drive any runs in today, but we saw what he did the last couple of days. Jesse Winker is batting .333 through the first week of the season. He had 2 hits today, 2 for 4, and the big 2-run single to tie the game at 6. Miller started at second base. His parents have been in town. He went 1 for 2 and had a run scoring base hit. Bryce Terang did not play with the left-hander on the mound. He came in late in the game. He got 2 at-bats, and he struck out once. Joey Wiemer batted 9th today. He went 1 for 4, 3 runs scored. Lefty versus lefty is when he hit his home run. All right, the pitching lines today. Corbin Burnes, 4 1/3, 7 hits, 6 runs, the 2 homers, struck out 3. Not enough swing and misses today out of Corbin Burnes. That was an issue. But the bullpen was not an issue. The bullpen was just terrific. Hobie Milner, an inning and 2/3, 1 strikeout on 14 pitches. Peter Strzelecki, he continues to be just terrific. He's getting I feel like he's pitching an inning every day, a scoreless inning every day. And that was the case today. 3 up, 3 down for Strzelecki. Matt Bush worked around a walk and pitched 1 inning, 15 pitches, and they got him out of there. And then Devin Williams in a tie game, they brought him in the top half of the 9th inning. 9 pitches, great inning for him. He gets the win, and he goes that 1 inning because Garrett Mitchell wins it in the bottom. The St. Louis Cardinals are coming to town. Cardinals are struggling right now. They're off to a very, very slow start. We'll talk about that coming up here in a little bit. We'll tell you about another new sponsor on this, on Locked On Brewers. It's called So Rare. So Rare. It's a revolutionary fantasy baseball game and marketplace transforming fans into owners and officially licensed digital cards featuring players from across all 30 MLB teams. Unlike other fantasy baseball platforms, So Rare managers truly manage their own fantasy experience, collecting, buying, selling, competing with players, cards, and globals opponents to win epic awards. Win or lose, you still own your own cards, and there's no cost to play. Plus, the more you win, the more you advance, collecting increasingly amount of powerful cards and accessing next-level competitions and awards. This is sounds like a great event right here. MLB game weeks happen twice weekly, span 3 or 4 day cycle, and it's your chance to be an MLB manager. Rewards, So Rare scarcity cards, game tickets, merchandise, signed jerseys are among all the things you can win. To sign up for this, head to sorare.com. That's So Rare, SORARE, SORARE.com/locked-on. So you could draft your team of free player cards, set your lineup, start competing today, and win epic awards. Again, that's sorare.com/locked-on to start playing today. All right, the St. Louis Cardinals are coming to town, and the Cardinals right now, a little bit of a mess, I would say. Again, early for them, but they're right now they've lost 3 in a row. They just got swept in a 3-game series by the Atlanta Braves. Their manager got ticked off last night. Marmol got ticked off at Tyler O'Neill because didn't feel like O'Neill was running hard as he rounded third and got thrown out at the place. And the Cardinals lost the game, I believe, 4-1, but did not think O'Neill hustled. He was not in the lineup today, but their starts have not been good from their starting pitchers. They are not the number of things there are just not going right for St. Louis. So we'll talk more about that. We're going to try to get Matt Pauley on from KMOX Radio. He used to work here in town on the Brewers Network and cover the Milwaukee Brewers for so many years. Went back to his hometown at KMOX Radio, and so happy for him because he's going to do such a good job there. He's on the post-game show. We're going to try to hook up with him for Friday's show and talk more about the St. Louis Cardinals. All right, I want to get to your Twitter questions here. Because on Twitter, every day on Twitter, I'm going to, during the game or sometime during the game, I'm going to ask your thoughts on certain things or whatever, and people will give me your opinions throughout the day. And it's Chuck Freeman, ChuckFreimund. Please follow me, and of course, follow me on our YouTube page. Hit subscribe. Hit the hit that little button over there. That's going to give you alerts onto when or where we download these each and every day. And of course, your favorite podcast. If you don't want to see the visual portion of this show, you can always catch the audio. So here we go. UK Brew Crew. I like this guy already. This UK Brew Crew. I believe he's over in England. He says, all I can say, Chuck, let the kids play. What a team. I hear you there, player. Pitchers says, never let an April sway your opinion about a team. With that being said, you can see the blueprint on how this team expects to be successful. Work counts, steal bags, use the speed, 1 through 9 can hit homers, and most importantly, depth. They have depth, which is huge. Yeah, team speed too. And team speed is so important. You got to have power, but we're seeing guys stealing bases, making plays, getting the balls with their speed, and defending. Huge, huge, huge. Not just sitting back and waiting for that 3-run homer anymore, finding other ways to win a ball game. And of course, with the starting pitching, although the starting pitching wasn't there today, the bullpen was great, and the Brewers hung in there with their bats. The bats, after being silent for the first game and a half this year, are battling back. Nick writes, hopefully Burnes turns it around, but what an ending and what a series. Bullpen was solid today and loving the 2-out, 2-strike RBIs. You got it. Bill writes, optimistic in a win in April counts the same as a win in September. But the Brewers were in first place by 2 games at the trading deadline in 2022. But good teams find a way to win. Burnes can't be expected to do it all. I hear you. Hey, you know what? He's going to have days like this. The good ones, the great ones all do. And I would just say temper your disappointment in Burnes because it's only 2 starts. Okay? We know he's got all the tools, and he's going to have a fantastic season. Colts Couch Crew says that experience Mitchell gained in the second half of last season is proved to be very, very valuable. He's got that right. Spencer says, this tweet aged well. Usually I hear from people when they say my tweet doesn't age well. And he's responding to when I said the Brewers were going to find a way. I just had a hunch that the Brewers were going to find a way to win that game today. And it did. Brock in SB says, I went with an Adames walk-off. Should have said Mitchell. Andy responding on comments about Corbin Burnes. He says the front office broke him. I don't think so. Burnes is more mentally tough than that. And again, Burnes is playing for his next contract. I don't think the front office broke him. I disagree with you there, Andy. Let's see here. Drew Kerr says, not surprised at all in response to Corbin Burnes. All right. So there you go. Those are some of the comments here. Let's check back at the profile, see if there's any other ones that I might have snuck in here in the last couple of minutes. That's good enough. Well, that's good to do for the show for today. Appreciate you all for stopping by and making Locked On Brewers part of your day, whether you're driving home from the game right now, you're caught in a traffic jam somewhere in Milwaukee, you're heading out on your bus trip somewhere from coming down and enjoying the game today, or listening to us on your way to work in the morning on a Thursday. I appreciate it greatly. I love our sports teams, and I love the Milwaukee Brewers. We're off to a 5-1 start, and let's see how we can carry this into the series against the St. Louis Cardinals as Brandon Woodruff takes the hill on Friday night. We'll talk to you then. We'll preview the game further on Thursday night, Friday morning. Again, we're going to try to catch up with from somebody from the St. Louis Cardinals organization who covers the team, probably Matt Pauley, good friend. Enjoyed him when he was here in Milwaukee when he worked for the flagship station, and he's now working for KMOX, one of the great radio stations in our country, and we'll get his take on the Cardinals, who are off to a 2-4 start. Thanks for making Locked On Brewers your first listen. And now for your second listen, check out Locked On Fantasy Baseball. Win your league by listening to Matt and Dom. These guys are fantasy baseball experts. Every day, they bring the fantasy baseball news. They bring you the best in fantasy draft strategies. Find Locked On Fantasy Baseball wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Chuck Freeman, everybody. You've been listening to Locked On Brewers. Appreciate you for stopping by. Let's keep this season going. Brewers off to a 5-1 start in first place in the NL Central. So long, everybody.